I've gathered a list of other hunters asking for help.
Uh-huh. I see. We'll discuss the prizes. Oh, we'll discuss the prizes. Soon. Where is Liz? She. Ah. Okay, she's loading it. Should I discuss the or wait? Ooh. Eh. First off, let's do this. Oh, wham. Well, Lizzie's here. Hi, Lizzie.
Hello.
Art thou Strem?
I'm working on it.
You're working on it. Okay.
I'm getting there.
While you work on it, I'm going to start setting things up. And as people show up, I will explain the rules. In the meantime,
everybody went home. I win.
Everyone went home. You win. Okay. Wow. Yo, Steam Bounty updated. Users can now be event set managers. That means I could, in theory, give you and Kaz access to the event sets to change them yourselves. That's interesting. I'd do that.
Ooh.
Hey, baby, you want the ability to go in and fuck with events and make your own? Oh, well. Are we doing Phas only? I guess we're doing Phas only. Did you start a game, baby, or something?
I thought I was doing it right.
No, you probably did. That's fine. Do Phas only. That's fine. We'll start with that.
Oh no, I took too long.
You took too long. Why? What happened?
Alice would have rated me if I was like 30 seconds faster.
You bitch! I'm sorry. I'm bad at rating. I rarely think about it. I usually end up, if I remember, I throw it at like someone random playing the same thing, or like when it was Terraria, it's like, that guy's build looks interesting, go get him. With how late we stream, usually it's just lurkers around here. I'm so short. Why am I so short? Now I am too tall. I just wrapped around. Easier if I set up like a scroll filter, but that'd be really annoying and a lot of work for a bit. Okay. We have 3 viewers. In theory. Alright. I'm going to switch over to the main screen. Well, bam! I'm down here now. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Excellent. I am going in. It's challenge mode this week. Primitive. You'll have no electronic equipment on Ridgeview. That's actually fairly doable. Okay. We're going to do custom. So here's how this works. In custom, our rewards are determined by our difficulty settings. Now, we can make this as easy or hard for ourselves as we want. We can make sanity pills make us perfectly better. We can have sanity pills do nothing. Something is setup time. Okay. Let's start here. Full restoration. Ooh. I'm assuming you're going to want some money.
Probably.
Okay, so I gotta be careful when I change that, because we are by default at 1x. We can make ourselves faster.
Okay, you should be able to hear Sarah now, right?
Meow. Oh, game noise. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Do we want to do the thing where we merge our chitty chats?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, give me a sec then. I have a button. I have a button.
A bouton. Why does that say 27? It should say 28.
Is invite. I've sent the invite. Hopefully that works right. In the meantime, I'm making us have the mad zoomies.
Okay, looks like it worked.
Interesting. Okay, I have a proposal for you, Liz. We can make no money, but in exchange, we never lose our items or consumables. Is that worth it?
I don't know.
I can also make it a friendly ghost, so the ghost will never hunt. That also makes it... I'm already down to 0.15 rewards. When I said we're starting baby mode, I meant it. Alright, we are... Okay, our chats are merged. We are one. Okay, grace period.
Oh yeah.
Duration before the ghost. Okay, hunt duration low. Kills extend hunts off. Evidence given all 3. Fingerprint chance fine. Duration can be even long. Infinite? Infinite? How does that even work? By the end, that's gonna look like a fucking hotel room when you got that black light. No, we're gonna keep that to default for now, because otherwise we're getting no. We're at 0.15 setup time. Do you want the full 300-second setup time?
On baby mode, sure.
All right. Weather. We can define the weather, or we can leave it on random. Some make it slightly harder. Some make it slightly easier. I'm fine with leaving it on. Well, if we're doing baby mode, how about sunrise? Doors don't start open. Number of hiding places very high. Sanity monitor on. Activity monitor on. Fuse box is on. Fuse box visible on map. Yes. Cursed possessions. We can make it have 7 cursed possessions on the map. That's crazy. And we can also define what it is, but it makes it really shitty. All right, random is fine. Okay, so we're at 0.1. Okay, X 0.13 rewards. We're getting 13% of our typical rewards. We're going to come out of this so rich. Okay, and just to really top it off, we're on baby mode. Tanglewood. I took my thing off push talk. I don't know how much of me heard. Okay. I'm going to run through the rules now. And it's on push talk so both our streams can hear it. Are we good? Here's how this works. We're playing baby mode, right? But it's custom difficulty. Every time we end a run, for each of us that is alive, one thing has to get harder. For each, if we get the ghost right, a second thing gets harder. And if someone on at least my stream, I don't know if Liz has it set up, if someone on my stream gets the stream bounty bingo, the winner of bingo, the first winner, gets to pick the next thing. And we are following the usual Phasmo rules on the bingo. If someone wins, I'm resetting it on the next run. So there should be plenty of opportunities. Also,
bingo set up.
Huh?
I don't have bingo set up.
That's fine. I do. That works for now. So that's that. Also, I don't know if you have the game rule thing I do for points, or I don't know. You don't have points, do you? You don't have the loyalty watch thingy yet.
Yeah, nope.
You gotta go play with your buttons. Okay. I have the custom game rules, so if someone spends points on that, they can adjust one of our rules or make us play a different map. They could throw us into the goddamn sanatorium if they want. No helping us. So there's that. So we're starting on Tanglewood. Super easy. If we lose, we cry and cry and cry and cry. And we'll go from there. Okay?
Sounds good to me.
All right. I'm readied up. Okay.
Let me click the ready button.
So, for the clarification of our rules right now, the ghost should never change what room it's in. The ghost should be active as fuck with events and just shit happening all around it. It should be very easy to find this.
Game a little happier.
We should have a delightfully simple time locating this fucking thing, right?
That's what we are. Repelling the ghost incense, taking some photos, and capturing a video of the ghost. And by the way, it occurs to me that I haven't said my name yet. Hi, I'm Lysanderish, and I'm fighting ghosts today.
I'm Sarah, and I'm hoping not to be the corpse. Grant, if either of us are the corpse this time,
hoping for, really.
If we're either of us the corpse this time, it's pretty sad. It's fucking daylight. Like, we should be all right. Also, all our hiding places should be Gucci, just so you know.
Bone? Bone in there?
Alright, so we're starting off looking for a bone. I still don't get people being mad about this map. I think it's a huge upgrade, personally. Sake of argument. Use box is in the basement. Okay. Guess I should start checking temps. I think the cave would crash if I shrunk it, because this is a little angry at me right now.
Sound like a present, right?
Let's see. 20 degrees up here.
Baby mode. I'm not even scared because baby mode.
You having fun over there? So the basement was
Wait.
16 degrees. I'm getting 20 everywhere up here. Have you found the bone or anything yet? Oh, she's on an adventure. Okay. Good for her.
I did found the bone. I even took a picture of it.
Oh, nice. Still looking for any of the cursed shit.
No, it wasn't the voodoo doll. 'Cause I didn't see it where it was last time.
Or, oh, the bear.
Could this be? Is this what I think it is?
You know, that's actually a really cool way to hide that. I like that. That's awesome.
I was like, oh, a glove. Wait,
Hiding in plain
that's
sight.
not a glove.
The same with the voodoo doll, like being in the arms of the teddy bear. Like they got some good spots this time. I'm curious where the others will be.
I wonder where the mirror spawns.
I have no idea. So we found the bone, we found the curse. I am almost certain. 100% basement. It's like 10 degrees down here. If that.
Ghosts, touch my EMF reader, please.
That means we get a ghost who gets to play with trains. Or us. We can play with trains too. I'm throwing my camera over here by the stairs. There is no good place to put a flash. Oh, wait, that works pretty well. Hey, look at that.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Nice, sloped collision or some shit. I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's sloped. That's sloped AF. Nice. That works.
Nice.
That's way better than the old one. People are complaining, Liz. This game's community sucks. They're so mean to it for no good reason. Oh, okay. So, where do we start here? Probably this. We're still on timer. Not gonna be too active.
You're so tired. Alright.
I got a dot. We got a thing. Probably one of these would be good, right? Everyone loves a good video camera, especially if it can catch a train driving itself in the night. Gnome. Since we're still in setup, it's going to be pretty chill, but this ghost is supposed to be... Did you turn the train on, or did the ghost? Oh, you're right there.
I turned something on, but I don't know if I turned the train itself on. Got a little EMF reading over here.
Okay.
Not 5, though. Nowhere near 5.
Putting the camera in the corner here. I'll put the book right here. That's a pretty good spot, I think. And... this seems good. I might bring in the level 2 dots, too, just so it like can cover the ground better.
Did you open this fridge?
I haven't touched shit. It is supposed to be super active. Like, I had put it on max activity, lowest hostility, without it being friendly. Because if friendly, we get nothing, and it's not even really a game anymore. But, I mean, if we need that, we need that, I guess. should need that. You have to unlock custom by hitting like level 50 or something. If you need friendly, I don't know.
We have to save one way in which the game can get easier in case this ghost kills both of us.
True, true. Yeah, I'm gonna grab that just to have it. We're gonna grab this. Probably a lot of double dip in here, but that's fine. Yeah. Let us see. Let us see. We need to mark things on the bingo. We found a monkey's paw. And the bone. So we do need to mark our bingo. I guess, I don't know where to put this. It's most effective. Oh, there we go. The power of Christ compels trains. Right here where we'll see it walking by. I kind of wish dots came in a different color, but that's fine. Alright, we're going to do some things here. Okay. What the fuck? We recorded... I heard that.
Got a spooky whisper.
Oh, nice.
Did it say let's hunt? Because that's what it sounded like to me. Which is not reassuring. Oh, my breath is so in my face now.
I believe it said get out. Alright, we'll check temp. 3 degrees Celsius. So,
I did say get out.
normal lifestyle temperature for you. Okay, let's see. Keys. In case the car goes wild, but it shouldn't. Ghost isn't a roamer. Yet. Oh, there's so many ways to make this harder. Yo, nice dark room, boy. Do that. I see no orbs. Do with that what you will. Orbless bullshit. Oh, I need to update the bingo. The bingo. Let's see here. We have.
Okay, we need 2 photos and all the videos. Okay. I got the spirit box.
Okay. I have updated the bingo. You got spirit box, huh? Oh shit, look at that.
I did get spirit box.
And EMF 5. Look at you.
Ooh, I didn't know I got that.
Yeah, you recorded it as a sound.
I was just trying to get the EMF sound. Nice. Helpful. Now we just need one more thing. Or 2.
I mean, no orbs, so probably just 1. Because we got spirit box and we got EMF 5, so...
Yeah.
I mean, we can start narrowing down then. Hold on. Dots is Wraith. UV is Galu. Freezing is Twins. Ghost Orb is Dion. Writing is Spirit. Never mind, we can't narrow down shit. They're all something. So... Nice. Got photo camera done, though. Good job.
Hell yeah. Do we need a video of the ghosts?
Yes, we do. A Dots video would count if it gives us that. So we got options. It's a dailies. Spirit box response. There's $50. Walk through 10 things
Hell
of
yeah.
salt. Well, I can get you some videos.
10 salts.
Whoa, something happened. Oh, thank you, Solar.
Well, hell yeah. You got a sub.
Yee.
Solar.
I'm tempted, and this might kill me, to turn off my push to talk. Because I have to leave this window a lot. And holding down mouse 5 is killing me. She's not in bed behind me, so I don't need this fan on. Do I do it? Do I risk just being audible? I'm gonna do it.
Do it. Our sanity. Oh, we're not even a little crazy. Okay, we're good.
All right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Awesome. My frame rate is chugging all of a sudden. All right, hold on. I'm gonna kill a couple things. I'm gonna assume this big animation is bad. Oh yeah, that's immediately a lot better. Okay. Handle, salt. Yeah. Okay. Riskier now, you see, because it can hear me if I don't shut up, or if my cat starts screaming, or if my wife decides to kill me. There's options.
Only
Okay.
if you deserve it.
Only if I deserve it. You got ghostwriting? Dang. Don't forget to get a picture of that then.
Who's gonna make this bitch right in front of the camera?
It's a spirit then, which does tend to be one of the chiller ones. Putting this over here so we get it on purpose. Yeah, grab that. I'm going to put this down. You can get that. Whoa.
Whoa.
I got another blippy noise, but my thingy hasn't updated. And there's a thing in the way of my other thingy. I've made mistakes. Stream bounty. Solar Zero has called random event. I need a better feed. Let's scoot this over. Does that work for me? Can I work with that? Does that give me enough room to function? Yes. Okay. Liz, that's not enough salt. Oh, shit. Did you get that?
I thought I did, but then maybe not. Let me check.
You did.
Yeah, I did get that.
Nice. The candle is out, so did that at some point. I'll do this again. I'm gonna take the
candle going out.
candle going out is also a sound if we need it. No, we got sound, didn't we? I will go get the other book and we can try and capture that if you want.
Sounds good.
This would also be a video if you can catch it, but if you're trying to get the thing for the side quest, should we say perfect game is another one that we have to make it harder?
I think so, yeah.
That makes sense. All right. If we manage to do all that, yeah.
Got the motion sensor.
Nice. Okay, let's look here. Rear motion sensor, something snuffed out the flame. We need more photos. Oh, shit. In that case, I'm going to bring that back in. What can we get a photo of, exactly? Dude, photo's going to be so hard. Oh, you're right here. So,
I'm right behind you.
I mean, we have the monkey paw. We could start a fucking hunt and ruin our lives. Did you notice we're fast as shit, by the way?
It's true.
I turned that up. That's making it another reason we're poor. Repel with incense while it's chasing. Capture a video.
I should have done a light off before I left.
Spurns to everyone. I'm trying to think of what we'd even get a photo. I mean, we get a photo of the book. I have the other book on me, so we can take a picture of it because I forgot we need the photo still.
I should have turned off that motion sensor before I left too. Dang.
I'll go take it down. I'm just trying to think. I don't think a motion sensor photo counts. Solar has set the rule.
Does the photo of the book count?
Yeah, the photo of the book will count. Solar says I have to use the monkey paw, and that's fine. I was planning to. Always use the monkey paw is a little hard, but I'll do what I can with it. Mostly because I just don't know all the shit I can ask it. There's that one. Are you still in truck? Okay, I'm going to set this. Tell me if you can see book with camera 1.
I can see it with camera number 2.
That also works. Okay. I get a photo of. This doesn't help. This doesn't help. Get that. I guess. Okay. If it does the book, then we just need one Hail Mary, and that Hail Mary is scary. But we'll fulfill Solar's requirement of use the monkey paw. And right, he says always use the monkey paw. I suppose that might hold for the night, but I don't know how often we'll get it. Because it is on random right now. You still hear me when I do this?
Yes.
Cool. Oh, it's doing it. Sick.
I hope I got it, because I forgot that,
We did.
that I'm not just holding down the button.
We did.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
so here's my horrible thing, and we're gonna need both of us, probably. We can use the monkey paw to start a hunt. Now, that would get us our last 2 things. If we can record the ghost and get a photo of it and then repel it and live, that would be a perfect game. Do you see my shitty vision? And the reason I say both of us is because, like, that's a lot of hand swapping otherwise, right? So here, let's both grab an incense real quick. In fact, maybe grab 2. Well, no, I can only have the one. Here, have the good one. Now, I think this salt actually works in our favor. I'm going to bring this with us. And I have to Google something real quick because I'm not that familiar with the monkey paw. Paw. Now, there's a lot of stuff we can do with it, but I just don't remember these things. Oh, this works even better. Kind of. Okay, so if we wish to see the ghost, it triggers a summoning ghost event at the ghost's current location, locking all exit doors immediately. After 5 seconds, the ghost will begin her cursed hunt, and the wisher's vision is obscured with a dark fog. That means we have 5 seconds in which we can get a recording and a photo of the ghost. I'm going to be blind as fuck while I run, because I'm assuming you don't want to do that.
You're correct. I'm a weenie.
Okay.
They let me out of Weenie Hut Jr., but I'm not quite ready for the Krabby Patty yet.
What the fuck? I wish the ghost was trapped. Applies the cleansing effect from incense on the ghost and teleports it to its favorite room and locks all doors connected to it for 1 minute. During this period, the ghost cannot hunt, roam, or use abilities. This will also lock all doors connected to the Wisher's current room for 1 minute. After this period, all doors will unlock and the ghost will start a standard hunt. Not as helpful. Apparently there's tags all over Sunny Meadows we can use to, like, learn these.
Helpful.
Ooh. Let me see. I can revive you from the dead with it if one of us gets caught.
Oh, handy.
That there's a 50% chance it'll cause me to die if I do that wish.
Margaret.
Have you found the voodoo doll?
No voodoo doll. It was the monkey paw this time.
Identified the ghost?
Yes, as far as we know. I wish for anything. Just picks one at random. Fuck you. Okay. So the ghost shouldn't be roaming. If we're both in its room especially. This salt, if I recall correctly, will slow it down. So I'm going to put it at the top of the stairs. We need to grab the video camera from the back, because it has the highest bonus for money. Any will do. And we need to take a photo of the bastard. Can we manage this?
I think we can probably manage this.
Wife doesn't believe in me, so that's cool.
Well, if we both die, there's still one more baby step.
I forgot to switch back.
Goes into Casper.
Where's the ghost? Yeah. Where's my mouse? There's my mouse. Okay. I mean, ghost will be hunting. Okay. So, and I got the photo of the book, so we're good there. Putting the salt here. I'm going to put the salt... Where do you intend to hide, Liz? Let's start there.
Good question.
I was thinking of hiding in the garage lockers. There's also the hall closet. Those seem like the two best spots to me.
I think I'm probably going to go for the hall closet.
Alright, I'm popping... Apparently, that was the only salt in this. We had one left. Okay. I have a photo camera. I have an incense. So, we need to be careful what we say. This motherfucker is in my hand.
Okay.
It's listening. It wiggled. Okay. Grab this fucking thing. I don't know where this is going to be. I'm assuming we don't want to be cornered in the basement when we do this.
Here, let me... Hold on, let me put this motion sensor off just so it can't fuck with me at all.
Valid. Alright, here's hoping it's not block. I mean, there is a place to hide and loop if it blocks us in, and it should be slow right now, so we got that. You ready?
Ready.
I wish to see the ghost. Where the fuck did you die? Oh! I wish to see the ghost. Oh, can I not do it again? YOLO. I wish my friend was alive. Fuck you! Are you serious? Oh, it revived her! It revived her! I did it! Don't do it. It's not worth it. Just leave. Just leave. This is so fucked right now. Bent over in the fucking closet, and I'm... Alright, that's my first time ever reviving a player, but I don't think it counts as I use the tarot cards for a thing, but whatever. Yes, record me. Da 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 la da 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 la da 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 la. I'll do a dance for you. Mwah.
I wish to see the ghost.
Won't work.
Oh, you don't work outside. Okay.
Doesn't work outside. Well,
Alright. Wow.
look at her go! Zoom!
We have plenty of pictures. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get those without dying. We know it's a spirit. I'm gonna hit the ghost.
Welcome back.
Alright.
What?
Ready for you.
What's wrong, Liz?
I didn't get the correct ghost type?
What did you pick?
Spirit!
I picked
Was the
Spirit.
only one left!
I picked Spirit, and it says I'm right. What does it
Bullshit,
say?
This game is...
What does it say on your end that it was? Does.
Had EMF and Spirit Box and Ghost Riding. That can only be a spirit unless it was a mimic.
No, it was a Spirit, because I got Spirit and it was right. Unless it... No, that makes no sense. I have no idea. That's weird. Okay, bingo updates. Let's go. We got...
It says it was a spirit!
Sarah did died.
What the fuck?
The ghost was both identified and misidentified, apparently. We had ghost writing. I
Game's rigged.
did comment on the corpse briefly. I used the cursed object. Ghost did blow out fire. I have dead body on here twice. I need to fix that.
Missed my chance to take a video of your dead body, by the way. That would have been helpful.
I thought it just meant we both lost. The fact it reses you still was nice. I'm just like, oh, I guess we're both dead. Oh, okay, we didn't lose on baby mode, technically. However, since I ended it dead, I don't get to pick what gets harder for my survival.
Freezing temps?
What, baby? There was not freezing temps, no.
How long did that take?
It shouldn't have taken no 46 minutes.
Been streaming for 46 minutes.
Detailed statistics. It was 27. Oh my, wait. Time of favorite movie. 28. It was almost 30 minutes. It was not quite. 28, it says. Well, I don't have a bingo either. No one has bingo, it looks like. Yet. Okay, Liz.
Me.
What is the thing you're going to make harder? Would you like me to read through your options?
Yes.
Starting sanity. Sanity pill restoration. Sanity drain speed. Your ability to sprint can be turned off. You can make us slower. We are presently at the max of 150%. You can disable flashlights. You can make the ghost faster. It is presently at 50% its normal speed. You can make the ghost roam more often. You can make the ghost capable of changing its favorite room. Make it less active. Have fewer events. Lower its grace period between when it starts and is able to kill in a hunt. Make hunts longer. Make kills extend the length of hunts. Reduce how many forms of evidence were given. Give it a percentage chance of fingerprints instead of guaranteeing it. Make fingerprints last a shorter amount of time. Give us less setup time. Change the weather, including making it random. You can make it so some doors start open, so we don't have that mulligan if a door is open. Oh, there's the ghost. Make it so some hiding places are blocked. Disable our sanity or activity monitors in the truck. Make the fuse box start off. Determine if it is invisible on our map, so we can't just look in the truck and know where it is. Reduce it so we don't have a cursed possession. So a couple options
Let's
there.
start with the fuse box off.
Fuse box off. All right.
Hold on.
Okay. Would you like to pick another one? Because I would have gone for that also. Because we did technically get the ghost. I don't know why it didn't count for you, but we did technically identify it. It was a spirit, at least on my end, and I'm host, so fuck it.
And let's hide the fuse box on the mini map.
You know what? That's valid. Our rewards are now up to 16% of usual.
Woohoo!
That movement speed really. You're so bad. Okay, hold on. You don't want your stuff, baby? Okay. Power? Okay. Now, we are between rounds, so I am going to call a minute ad here real quick whilst I assist my wife. No, give me just
Yeah,
a
okay,
minute.
that's valid.
It's a good time to do it. And now all the subscribers get to have a secret conversation as soon as this actually goes through. Okay, we're in secret conversation time for subscribers and people with creative ad blockers because uBlock doesn't seem to work on Twitch. What do you want to tell my subscribers and anyone that can hear you, because I don't think you're a partner at all, so you can't run ads yet. But things that you only want people to be able to hear if they're watching you or give me money. There you go.
Yeah, do you hear my farty
I
bed?
don't know what to say.
Kate asks if everyone hears her farty bed.
Yeah. I can hear that.
You hear the farty bed? I know it's a farty bed because every time I'm on it and like my foot moves, you're like, did you just rip ass? I'm like, no, it's your bed. Like, yay. Bling, someone called something. No. what was the bed. But if you protest too much, no one's going to believe you. So you got to be confident. You can't it was the bed every time. You just got to let us assume it was the bed. If you say it's the bed every time, we're like, all right, you protest a lot. I'm not sure.
Or 6.
Okay.
Ghost identified with secondary evidence.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, shit, man. Question. Can you hear the fan?
Well, are those taquitos in the back freezer ours?
Ones the tall freezer are.
Thanks for the resub, Lizzie.
You're welcome.
Say hi to your hubby. I hear him. Unless
Sarah
it's
says hi.
the milkman, in which case, say hi to the milkman.
Oh, it's the taquito man.
Oh, the taquito man. Fuck yeah, I'm on my way.
Don't tell her that. She ate 24 taquitos by herself the other day.
I think it was literally yesterday. All right, Liz, you lived. Pick the next map.
Ah, I shall do this.
I'm giving you survivor's
Blue
benefits.
Stripers.
She didn't live. She got brought back to life.
Yeah, but she's the one that lived and left, so she's why we didn't lose baby mode, so she gets to pick, even though we are still technically in big-time baby mode.
It's been a while since I've seen Edgefield. Let's go there.
All right, I think that's the next one they're going to redo. It's either Edgefield or Ridgeview.
Hell
I don't
yeah.
remember which. It's one of those fucking things. Those are the two that are still using the assets. My tip was to listen for distant sounds. Now, see, that's great if you play this game with headphones, like a smart person. However, I am me. I'm just going to open this door. Fuck it.
Let's see. Witness a ghost event. Cleanse the area near the ghosts and get the ghost blood. Okay, these are pretty easy.
Yee.
These are...
Was this always brick? Oh, right. I never come to this house. I hate it here. Okay, cool. We gotta start by finding Le Fused Box. Hate this place. I hate this place.
I really have not been here in a long time.
I always forget how much I hate this place.
Alright. Off to a good start. Off to a bad start. Dropped all my shit.
We had a No Kings protest in Lebanon.
We did?
A lot of people showed up.
In Lebanon?
Yup.
Oh my god, I could cry in hope.
A lot of people showed up.
That's good. What was going on over there, Liz? I heard you having a talk with something.
Forgot EMF reading briefly. I threw my camera on the floor.
Nice. I'm trying to figure out where the fuse box is. Is it in here? No. Is it over here? No. Is it in the fridge? In the bread box? There's no bread in the bread... Oh, wait. Is there bread in the bread box? There's no bread in the bread box. Fuck this house. There's a ball. Bicycle.
There's people for blocks.
What? People for blocks in Lebanon. Is it like single file?
A long ass
I don't
line of
know.
people
But you're here now.
by the gazebo,
Damn. I had
by the
no...
library,
You know, I kind of thought about looking into it at some point.
on Main Street.
I just didn't believe. Bone.
Bone!
Yep, bone. No, you're fine. I'm happy to hear it. How do I open this? There we go. Where is the fucking fuse box?
Booty hole.
It's in my butthole? Have you checked your butthole? Skeet up, beat up, butthole. Oh, this door was open. That door's, I have a theory.
Any of the cursed objects are in here either.
I think it's probably in here is my guess. Just because there were a lot of doors open.
Has that magazine in their bedroom.
And also it's 10 degrees colder than anywhere else in the house. It's in the bedroom over there. I'm sure glad we picked no fuse box map on a map that we know so well. On that note, can you go double check the basement? Because maybe I just fucking missed it. By the front door? Am I stupid? Is it like right here? I do not know this house. Have you checked your butthole? Skate up, butthole. Maybe you'll find your dead grandma up there too. Oh, I fucking got you, butthole. My family hate me. This might be the reason that I got no close friends. Fucking worth it, baby.
It was in the garage, which we both somehow missed right now.
There's a garage? I hate this map. Okay. Mr. Ghost, did you know there's a garage? I know, pretty cool, right? Hey, are you nearby? Would you like to talk? Is it safe? Can you give me a sign? Alright, that works for me. I recorded a ghost event. If you need a nice lullaby sung to you in a not creepy manner at all. I also put the book in there. But no one's recording that,
Yeah.
so... I was not getting a response on Spirit Box. I said, give me a sign, and it started singing. So I'm going to grab a crucifix. Unrelated.
Really good idea.
Yeah.
It's a little spicy in there, apparently.
Well, whoa! EMF 5 is officially on the table immediately. That is a big spike, and that is why removing the activity monitor is a challenge. I think the first one I'd kill is our movement speed, because that, I think, is really limiting us. But so is our setup time, so I don't know. Let's see. What's a good spot? How about right here? And how about... It wrote in the book. My camera's at the base of the stairs, but it wrote in the book.
I have a camera. Did you just open that closet?
Nope. I tried to close the closet. I'm not seeing UV. Touch something. It's fun. I love touching things. Ask anybody. It's great. Favorite thing about being corporeal. Touching stuff. Yeah, I heard that. You touched something. What'd you touch? Was it me? Ooh la la. Sarah flirts with ghosts. You can go ahead and knock that off. I hear it doing stuff. Oh.
I just realized this is an R note. Ah!
Yeah, that's the body I picture with the nice singy-songy. Where's our camera? Oh, it's... Well, there's a video of the ghost, if you care. So that's fun.
Got a photo of the ghost too.
Did you get a photo of the ghost riding?
I just saw dots.
You saw dots?
I watched him walk through the dots.
It's singing
I don't know
again.
if that counts, but I saw him.
Okay. This is a singy bitch.
I'm
That
gonna throw my camera on the floor.
is that Banshee that's more likely to do that?
This is not our notebook.
Hi, Limited.
Okay. We're gonna need that at some point.
Wait, what? The thing I recorded, was it writing?
That's weird.
I recorded ghostwriting, not the
I see
singing.
dots. Oh, ghost orb.
You got a ghost orb?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You said you did see dots?
I saw him walking through the dots.
But not necessarily.
Ghost, got ghost orb.
Ghost writing takes mimic off the table, so orb is relevant, which means mare, revenant, or thay. Spirit box would be mare. Freezing temps would be revenant. Scary. Ultraviolet is not on the table. Dots is thay, which would check out. EMF 5 is nothing, which is weird, but okay. We got photo and video of the bitch, but we do have an EMF photo that's invalid, so I deleted that. We need a better EMF photo, apparently. Also, we could theoretically put a book in and get a video of that. I should go double check the bingo. I have no idea. I don't think they thought about it that hard. Is it frequency or amplitude modulation? I got no clue. I think it's just a video game thing. It is trying to push our camera so hard. And Delimited has won the bingo.
Oh, he's...
So
That's why it
Delimited.
manifests next to the camera. It fucking hates cameras.
Don't we all? Alright, so what do we got so far? We got... Shockingly, I don't think I have video or photo of the ghost on my bingo. That'd be something to fix.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
We haven't found the cursed object yet?
Not that I've seen.
Okay. So we need to double check the temp and try to get videos. See if we can figure out where this stupid thing is. Oh, and we need to pop an incense near it, which is basically free. I'm just going to do that. What's our sanity doing? You know, it's getting a little spicy. I'm going to go ahead and just blonk. Okay, I'll grab this while we're at it. Salt, that's a little something, something. Okay. Hey, it's doing something in there. Is there anything on the video worth a shit? Cool, it's just mad about something. Awesome, I love that for me. I walked up the stairs and and shit was flickering. I was like, no thank you. Hard pass on the flickering. Just not a fan, thanks. Is there a light that actually makes my life easier here? Gonna blow out my candle? Is it safe? Are you friendly? Certainly active. What would you like for Christmas, little boy? Oh, did you get any of that?
Got the fire, I got a Dot's ghost, I got an object thrown.
Nice. Video's full.
We have 100% of our evidence. So we
Okay.
just need to cleanse the area near the ghost using incense, and
We win? We win?
we win.
We win? We found the bone? We win? We win?
We did it!
We win! Yay! Yay! Yay, everyone lived! Nothing stupid happened on baby mode! We are decent sometimes! All it takes is one of the most aggressive active ghosts in the game. Yay! Alright.
Who would have thought?
You got Faye marked?
Yeah.
Alright, if it disagrees about whether we're right and wrong this time, we punch the game in the tits.
Agreed.
Okay. Hit the button. Okay.
Alright.
Welcome back. There's some jobs ready for you.
It says they.
That's what I got.
Good, okay.
I just misclicked something last time and didn't notice.
Alright. Game summary. That was only, like, 10 minutes. 15. That's still. Okay. Cool.
It tracks, though.
Limited. You in particular don't go anywhere. We are between rounds, so I am going to run another ad real quick. If anyone else has a bingo to claim, let me double check the events really quick. Dots Ghost spotted. UVM. Oh, Dots Ghost was spotted. Perfect game. Perfect game. I did brave it alone, thank you. Okay. There's everything called. If anyone has a bingo, you're welcome to claim it. It's like I do. Sick. But Limited has won the bingo this round. I'm going to run an ad and go to the bathroom real quick. It's going to be a 3-minute one, so no pre-roll for anyone for a while, hopefully. Yay, yay. And then we will start a new bingo and do our rules for next time, starting with Limited picking his prize. I don't think he was here for the explanations. This is a fun surprise for him. BRB and all that.
Well, that wasn't what I intended to press. Just listen to me ticky-tack while I wait for Sarah's ad to be up. Take this pain away. I don't wanna do. Oh, I don't know what song I associate with Eli. That's interesting. Alright. I need to do some research. Starting here.
Did you miss me?
Immensely.
I know it's hard not to. I'm basically incredible. Okay, we got about 4 seconds of ad time left. Supposedly, ad break ended. Your community is back. Awesome. Okay, so to reiterate what was going on before, we are playing. Every round gets a little bit harder. We're on custom difficulty, and things get a little bit more fucked up every time we win. Now, in this case, since we had a bingo winner and it was delimited, Mr. Delimited, you get to pick which rule gets harder now. Now, there are 3 tabs of rules, and you are welcome to peruse them and pick one, and we cannot undo whatever you do for at least a round. Now, I guess you could also say something gets easier, but there's really not much left to actually make easy at this point. We're still very much in baby mode. So, I am casually going through all the different things. And Liz, would you like a reminder while we're at it? I think you can see, if you look at the difficulty, you can see what the things are listed right now. You can just pick something. This one's the one I'm most worried about. Like, is that even legible on stream? I think so. It is quite tiny. And if you don't know the rule, just, pick one. It'll be fun. In the meantime, Liz, we need to pick 2 that we agree on because, is there no cyclone? But yes, I can change the weather to something much worse.
Storms forever.
Fog, clear, windy, snow, heavy rain, light rain. Okay, heavy rain. That's as close as we get. Thank you, Bird. Okay, so Delimited has chosen one of the only weathers that actually raises the reward rating, heavy rain. That means there is lower temps and thunder and rain both drowning out distant noises, so it's harder to hear where the ghost is. That's how that works, okay? So, Liz, you lived. What do you want changed?
We could lower the number of hiding places.
Okay. Down to high. I'm going to do a proposal for one of our shared ones, okay? Do we really need 5 minutes of setup time?
I don't think we need 5 minutes of setup time. That's
No.
a lot.
I'm going to drop that, I guess, down to 240 as our first one. It works a minute at a time, so there's that. That immediately raises our rewards a decent amount. I get to pick one. Is the Sandy Monitor activity? I don't want to lose those. Oh, Solar's really trying to win. He wants to finish that board. Let's see. I am going to lower our speed a little bit, which immediately upped our rewards to 0.36. Now, we need to agree on one more between us, because we had a perfect game.
All right.
Solar, I got bad news. When the next round starts, we are resetting the bingo. I could do this, though. I could do this. Oh, well, bird's thrown in. Okay, so what do you want to change that you think would be interesting? You can disable sprint over my dead body. You're welcome to do that for your individual pick, but if we're agreeing on one, it's not turn off the run button. Just kiss Liz already? I technically did that earlier. I guess I can mark that. Oh yeah, by the way, Liz, when I was dead, I came and kissed you on the forehead. So...
I didn't know about that.
I forgot, so I didn't mark it.
Let's see. We can lower the fingerprint duration.
Lower the what? Oh, fingerprint duration. That's true.
Fingerprint duration.
They aren't there as long. Let me see. Fingerprint duration down does not affect our rewards at all at this point. Would you still want to do it? We're at 0.36. The biggest effect on our rewards right now, I believe, is our move speed.
If we lower that, that's going to go to like 125 or something.
And vent free. That doesn't do much, actually. I'm trying to play around. Roaming frequency. Oh, if we make the ghost roam more, the ghost speed is a huge one. We can make the ghost slightly faster. It's at 50%.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that.
We're done with that.
75. We're up to 0.53. We're at half of normal mode.
Woohoo!
I know. All right, I'm going to apply these changes. That's a pretty significant little jump. That more than doubled our reward, mind you. And I'm going to end this round. 3, 2, good claim. Good last second claim. End. Okay, so we start a new round. I'm going to do it, Katie. I'm just going to keep it on Phasmo exclusively. It makes these faster. It's a smaller board. Okay? Same roll. I probably have, like, what, 2 more games tonight at the rate things are going? We'll see. What board do we want to play? We both lived. I really don't want to do Camp Woodwind.
Whatever.
I don't want to do an outdoor one in this weather. You know what? Let's redeem.
Agreed.
Let's redeem ourselves. We had a rough time on Tanglewood of all places, so let's fix that. Okay.
All right, what do we got here? We got Ruth Johnson.
Photo of any successful reading on EMF.
EMF reading.
Go cray cray. Witness a ghost event. All right. That's not so bad.
I can do that.
Now here's the question, Liz. Do we carry our difficulty forward for future streams?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
At least until it gets too hard.
Yeah, we could do Nightmare. Okay, I did Nightmare once when you and Chris both sacrificed yourselves. I went, huh, think I know what that was. I don't remember why I knew what it was, but something about how it went towards and killed both of you. I'm like, I got a pretty good hunch. Yeah, this is a bit different than Sunset.
Just a bit.
Samurai Champloo.
I never watched Samurai Champloo.
Live action by the One Piece live action studio announced.
Right on. I think Samurai Champloo is the very, very black one, if I remember right, which is cool. You don't get a lot of anime that's like that.
None of those characters are black.
What? None of them do? Oh, then I'm mistaking it for something else. That's probably why I never remember it. I'm probably thinking of Afro Samurai. The fuse box is on, by the way. Yeah. Alright. I don't know Samurai Shampoo at all, then. I've heard of it. I just don't know what it is. Holy shit, I found cold ones, guys! Man paints his own trains. Look at that. Degree basement. Okay, well, it was 10 degrees in the basement, and it is 5 degrees out here. Somewhere in this area. Oh, it's throwing silverware everywhere, and it's really mad that I'm talking. I think it's in here.
Yeah, probably. Through a boot. Oh, I got an EMF reading.
Get a photo of that. I got a bone. Your EMF didn't count again? I'll put it over here on the table.
Amazing.
We'll get it. Not too worried. I'm gonna go check for curses real quick, I guess. See what I can find.
Yeah.
Not the monkey's paw, so I don't gotta use it. As per Solar's standing rule. Let's see.
Oh my god, I'm pretty sure I didn't see the bear.
Oh, tarot cards.
Ah, tarot cards. Where do they live?
Same spot they always lived, actually.
Basically right where they were before?
Yeah,
Nice.
that is nice. I'm gonna go put them in the
Makes me
kitchen.
wonder if the mirror lives where the mirror is supposed to live.
Okay, I'm gonna go update my bingo card real quick, and I'll be right back
Fridge is
with...
empty.
What?
The fridge is empty. That's it.
Did it just turn on the radio? Or is that you?
I think what that is that you hear my husband.
Oh. That won't get you killed. Locked. That's great. Love that for us. I'm sure this potato's a reference to something, but fuck me if I know what. Let's see. F. Why don't we grab this bad boy right? What am I holding? Oh, my camera. I'm still holding my camera. Hey. Oh shit, I forgot the bingo needs to be updated. We haven't had an actual hard evidence yet. What did I get? We found the cards. Hero cards. Okay. That's it so far. Like here. Put the camera like here. Double check this. We're at 1 degree. Ah. Alright. Oh, really? just drop it and run, huh? Trying to gnome the expert. I see how it is. I recorded some of that.
Being menaced.
What?
She followed me around the room.
Oh, it was trying to suck your sanity out through your ass. Like a kappa.
Rude.
Is it safe? Are you friendly? Is it dark enough in here for this to matter? You're right, I'll go turn off the kitchen, I guess.
You wanna hurt us?
How do I turn off the kitchen?
You wanna hurt us?
I wonder if it only responds to lonely bitches. Hey, here's a sound recorder. Have fun. Now, let me check this real quick. Oh, dots, 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 big time dots. I am sad I didn't have anything to record that with. Holy shit. Definitely dots, though. I heard that from down here. Gnome's not cooperating. Like a what? I am so mad I just saw the dots and it did not pop up as a recording opportunity. Fire extinguished, caught on film. Give it to me. Show me dots. Show me.
That was apparently an EMF 5.
Nice. I'm trying to catch this fucking dots. It keeps doing it when I'm not ready, and now I'm mad.
I am right behind you, just so you know.
I know you are. Oh, I was holding the button out of habit. Yeah, I'm in the truck. What do you need, baby? I just like sounding like I'm on a walkie-talkie. Over.
Let's ghost. Oh, and we got Spirit Box.
It's not doing it. It was only
Should be
doing it.
erased.
Okay, it only did dots when we were in the room. That's relevant to something.
Rude.
So you said EMF
Still need a
5.
Successful photo. And the sanity. Okay.
EMF 5, dots, and spirit box. Wraith, yeah. We only have 2 photos. We need a photo of the EMF reader. Getting any reading at all. There's lots of room for video, and it keeps doing shit, I swear. What if I put in another dots projector? You need to lay down? Okay, what do you need me to do? Oh. The farty mattress is going to make farty mattress noises. Hold on.
Oh.
If you just hit play over and over on that ghost event tail end I recorded, it sounds like a Windows error noise. Just like a really fucked up one. Okay, we need photos. The only thing we have is sound. Alright. Grab this. Let's, what do we got? Salt. The other UV. Yeah, that works. Does that work for me? I know the basement spot's open. Let's check the garage really quick. Yeah, we're golden. Okay. Shut up.
Young.
Want to step through my salt? Maybe show yourself?
Hurt.
Then do it. Please. For the love of fuck. You were doing it when I wasn't in the room. Why aren't you doing it now? Motion sensed. Done. Wraiths won't step in salt. That was dumb of me. Pro strat. Run at the ghost really, really fast and you'll scare it.
We accidentally got light exploded twice, so you...
I don't even know how I managed that. I put down salt, trying to record salt because I forgot how wraiths work. Just want Dot's ghost. Did you get it? Object thrown. Damn it. Just want Dot's ghost.
object thrown, yeah.
Just want Dot's ghost. I know it's there. It kept doing it. Ah.
I know it'll do it.
I left you your friend, by the way, so you're not lonely in the truck. Bingo update. We have identified the ghost. I am going to say that's me getting impatient because I'm yelling about Dots. Spirit Box has responded. Dots ghost EMF 5. And we found the cards.
We just got the video for Dot's ghost.
We did? Yippee! Hey,
Yeah.
guess what? It's time to be a photo whore. I still need a photo of that frickin' EMF reader, and we both need to go a little cray-cray, so that's fun.
True. So we need to be a little cray-cray.
Alright, well, let's go get a little cray-cray. Glad I just took my meds. My no cray-cray meds. But listen, you gotta keep on your meds. I remembered my vitamin D yesterday. It's gonna make my whole life better. Probably. Yo, what the fuck happened in here? Oh no, that picture fades in and out of reality depending on, things.
Did it count that time? Yes. Good. Done.
Fuck you, I got that.
Did you get it?
I got that.
Okay. We both got
We
it.
both got that. And we did it like frame perfect. Does yours say both are unique?
Yes.
Haha, we're done. Oh, I love that glitch. That's my...
The part where we're supposed to go crazy.
Oh, yeah, we gotta go crazy. I mean, there's ways to do that. There is a bunch of tarot cards in there. We can just turn off the lights and get ready to hide or whatever.
Off
Like,
the lights and just sit.
yeah. Well, don't just sit. Know where you're gonna go. Not in here. In here sucks. Oh, this whole corner's just locked. How about that? Okay, cool. That's good. That's a good option. A lamp, so you know when it's safe. Your hand is clipping through the wall, and it's not creepy at all. Would you like some music while you're hiding, Liz? Here, I got you. I'm sure you can hear it over the rain. Great bug. Great bug, love it. You just gotta go fucking stupid. Yeah, fuck you. Here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go grab an incense. This could end up being very important for me, right? Yeah, that's kind of all I need, actually. I need to go cuckoo bananas nuts. Have an incense just to be safe. The ghost is pretty done being a ghost for now. And various places I can hide. Yeah, good for you. Yay! Whoop! Crucifix just burned. I'm gonna go check our numbers because I pulled a Wheel of Fortune and it was red. Then I got the thing that turned blue, and I don't know if that's good or bad. I never remember what that one fucking does. Average sanity 48. This thing is already trying to hunt, so keep that in mind. I'm gonna get more Crucify. Also, Liz, if you keep hiding in there forever, it might just know where you are. I'm just saying. Like, no judgment. I'm just... it might know where you go. Yeah, running into the table's really saving me. Anyone watching my stream just saw the biggest jolt in the world in my mouse. Was not ready for that at all, apparently. Cooking for the family. Better than cooking the family. How you doing? Deanna, it's so cold out. We should huddle up for warmth. Positioning yourself in front of me and then wiggling your butt is something I don't think you meant to do, but it did make that a really funny punchline. Yep. I don't think it's happy. Also, I don't know if you know this, but I think you might be muted.
I am muted. You're right. I did that on purpose.
Okay.
I don't think it likes me.
No. Let's go see how we're doing on that sanity thing. Actually, we can just check right here, can't we? La 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 la. Nope, not yet. Ow.
We're getting there. We're close to being crazy.
I was born crazy. Sanity 0. I should add Sanity 0. Someone make notes on all these things I want to add to the list. This is why having the thing where someone else can edit, it's a cool update. I'm like, oh.
Oh, it ticked off.
Okay. Fuck it, we're done. I will take... Oh, look at that. As soon as we got out the door. Oh.
So bad.
Oh. Well, who isn't?
All right.
I think we did it.
We did it.
Well.
I got Wraith.
Yep, Wraith. All that's left is to hit...
that Ruth was a Wraith.
Yep. Ruth the Wraith. Ruth the Wraith Johnson. Now it's time to hit the button and give our celebratory blowjobs. Da 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 da.
Oh yeah.
Normal noises. Get Milo for you? Yeah.
Had some jobs for you.
Yeah.
Hello. Not who I'm looking. Your brother. Where's he hiding? Your mother wants you. Your mother wants you. Here you go. Go see your mother. Oh. Okay. Hey, look, that almost gave us an actual amount of money. What a fucking idea.
Hell yeah.
That was 20 minutes. These are long games. Okay. Aaron, we are getting perfect games. Ghost did not hunt. No one died. Perfect game. I definitely thought with another character. I mean, we did have celebratory blowjobs. So, and we huddled for warmth. That's plenty of flirting with other people.
True.
I'm trying to feed the bingo.
That's a lot of flirting.
I could say that is several steps past the flirting. Peak autism, just laying in a bed naked with someone else being like, I wonder if they like me.
We stop to think about how difficult it must be to be an autistic lesbian.
Can't be the easiest. I am now joining my bingo game. We have finished a round. I'm in. Oh, he's trying to win again. He's trying to win again. All right. Hey, you know, you gotta use those points for something. All right, Lizzie. What would you like your change to be this time?
What if we lowered our starting sanity?
Yeah, that's a fun one. Why not? That drops at 75. What's this? Yeah, he's going off. He's calling random over and over, trying to win this thing. Okay. So that does raise our rewards, but it's limited by how much our sanity pills restore us. So I'm going to use mine.
Hey, did we use the cursed object last game?
I did. I did use cursed object. You're right. I should have called that. He really wants to win. Where's cursed object? Oh, Liz won. You're so mean. And then Malka, and then Limited. Oh my goodness. There was a war there. You know, there is a button I can push that calls every event, and I'm like, you know, maybe I should just like make it so for like 10,000 you can just black out the whole thing. Really? How low do we have to make it? Oh my god.
What points does he have?
I don't know, he doesn't spend them usually. Alright, I used mine on Sanity Pill Restoration down. We have to, the sunk cost fallacy. Oh, it's still catching up to him, and the winners. That's what all the noises are. I was too far gone, I'd put too many resources in not to win. The sunk cost fallacy. Indeed. Worst part is, I still don't have a bingo on my own card. Okay. Well, that catches up. Liz, you won, so you get to call another one. What would you like? I can further reduce Sandy Pill Restoration, but it doesn't do that much for the record.
Hey, that was the wrong button. All right.
I'm playing around with what gives us the most. Ghost Speed gives us a lot. Sandy drain speed gives quite a bit. No sprinting, basically doubles what we have, but not enough to break 1x, so I guess more like no. Our speed is a pretty good chunk. No flashlights is less than you'd fucking think. Less setup time does jack shit unless we really cut it. Weather is as good as it's going to get. Door starting open is a little bit. Fewer hiding space. Also, just do whatever you want. It's slowly adding up. Oh, there is one thing below. There is technically one thing below fuse box being off, and that is it being broken. Which,
I don't like that. No, thank you.
which it limits our rewards unless we also turn off our flashlights because they hate fun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I understand that.
Yeah, pick whatever you want. You get one more. Then we got to agree on two.
Let's change doors starting open.
Low. Do you want to go ahead and just make that medium as one of our agreed ones?
Sure.
Cool. Now we don't need to open so many fucking doors. How do you feel about going crazy faster?
I'm down.
Done. Our rewards are now up to 0.8. We are still not to the equivalent of playing on beginner.
Amazing.
All right, we're going to end game. I'm going to start a new one. And in the spirit of what just happened, I am enabling the Chaos Kit. So as a reminder to everyone, Chaos events are only called by vote or random events. They are never called naturally. So you have to want them to happen or trip into them happening. And some of them are not great. So, be careful. One of them will just end the bingo round. And that is specifically an answer to random event spam. It's called risk reward. It's chaos for a reason. Limited in spirit of your enthusiastic process, would you like to pick the map this time? You may as well. A booby prize, if you will. We have 6 Tangwood, 42 Edgefield, and 10 Ridgeview are just standard houses. Do the Slammer. He's sending us to jail, Liz.
Oh no. Jail's so big.
I mean, he did spend a lot of points, so. Worst part is, I think the prison only counts as a medium map. Alright, ready when you are.
I should probably click the button.
Yeah, there's a button. Cookie. Would you like a cookie, baby?
Oh,
Oh, that's pretty bad. Cookie for Sarah. Okay.
Alright, we need 3 unique photos. Prevent the hunt with a crucifix. And have someone witness a ghost event.
The can, the clink, the pen, the big house, the hole, the cooler, Uncle Sam's naughty box. Order delivery, no more island.
Hopefully this time it's not a wraith. So we can get this walkthrough salt thing done.
just pulled all those shit out of your butt.
No, he said a lot of Gitmo. He listed a bunch, then I started quoting things from like, oh my god, no, what's his name? The song is Sick Jan. It's the guy that Chris Fleming.
Naughty box?
Uncle Sam's Naughty Box.
Best way to say.
That is half of the reason I like Sick Jan all by itself. Okay, the good news is we have about 10,000 preset cameras on this map. The bad news is I don't see anything on any of them.
Ghost orbs in any of them?
No.
Yeah.
12 cameras with jack diddly on them. Once again, a nice small map. Alright. This one is still the classic.
We're gonna go hunt down the fuse box.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have fun.
Never
Okay.
find the bone or the cursed object in these parts.
All persons entering are subject to search, as are all items in their possession and their vehicles. Individuals who do not comply will not be allowed entrance into the facility and will be required to leave the premises. If necessary, appropriate law enforcement authorities will be called. Okay, here's my first beef with the prison. Where's the front door? Is this the front door?
Where's the door?
No. This is how we got here.
This seems like the way we came.
Yeah. This is how you knew you pick a map where we're going to have issues. Where's the front door? Oh! It's where we started.
Oh, okay. It's right next to the sign you were reading.
Yeah. Why would I see that? Fuck. I'm sure glad this place is secure from anything but a stick man.
A trash can outside? This is like playing Ghost Janitor again.
Ghost Janitors is our punishment if we lose on baby mode.
Oh no.
We get to go see what the 20 new jump scares are.
Think that'll come in handy with the ghost?
What?
Got some handcuffs. You think that'll help with the ghost thing?
My audio processing's really acting up because I swear you're asking if I'm going to hump the ghost. I'm like,
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
I'm not against it.
Definitely a question I would ask apropos of nothing, out of nowhere.
Well, it's 8 degrees in here, but unfortunately it's storming
Could be
like
mumbling,
fuck
I just
outside.
don't know.
Wait. Okay, no, it's normal. Sick Jan, you don't have to claim a home office if it means we both go to jail.
Oh hey! The bone!
I found all the binders. Wow, bro. Oh. Warden just keeps
I don't
us.
know what that was doing in here. That seems like...
Seems like something you'd find in the cells more than. Oh, whatever.
You'd think so. But I've seen enough prison drama shows to know how wardens are.
Alright.
The answer is evil.
Well, considering that we are in a jail, and this could go forever before we have anything happen besides death, I'm going to point this out. The making it harder thing at no point requires us to win. If one of us survives and leaves, that person gets to pick what gets harder next time, and only the one thing. The better we do, the more things get hard. But, you know, anything shy of absolute failure, something does get harder. I think we just went in a big dump circle. That sounds like me. Sick Jan, don't have to claim a home office if it means we both go to jail. Oh shit! I'm getting wet, I'm getting wet, I'm getting wet, I'm getting wet. Would you like to join me in the showers? Sup, ho. Oh,
There's
you,
another towel here.
just one. Someone's naked. SpongeBob's running around in the nude.
I found some soap. I was hoping it was the tarot cards, just based on the rectangular shape.
Hey, there's enough soap. We can make a tarot deck out of the soap. We could carve it in. ghost. Mission failed. We couldn't find our way in. We're keeping the down payment. Oh, if only. Oh my god. I'm not even remembering to look at my thing. If someone sees the temperature take a nosedive, do say so. Because I am multitasking my eyes a little hard here. Toothbrush, I think is what that was. Fancier than what I have. Old book. This is one of the maps where the ghost can start hunting and you'll just have no idea it was happening. Especially since we have roaming low, it's just going to hang out in its room most of the time. Sick Jan, sick Jan. I thought that was a death note. It's like, damn, no wonder you're in here. Sick Jan, sick Jan. Sick Jan, sick Jan. Strong recommend if you need to laugh tonight. Love Sick Jan, very funny. Chris Fleming's a little hit and miss with me, but I think Sick Jan is very good.
I'm outside.
Well, that goes to Block A. Any luck?
Nope.
Alright, time to go up and look around here. Whee! I haven't had a temp below 8 yet. At least that I've caught.
They got an electric toothbrush, and that other guy didn't even have a bed frame.
Well, you know, they gotta punish you when you're already being punished. What the fuck is this thing? Just a table, I guess? We call this the head bonker. Every day when you wake up, there's a good chance you're gonna bonk your head. The fact your mattress is easily scooted has nothing to do with the head bonker. Also, I was wrong. The head bonker is that toilet. Good God. Don't sleep under your toilet. Dude,
This guy's got a head bonker too.
prison sucks.
Prison does suck.
I get that the whole idea is like, hey, we're gonna make it suck, but like maybe we should. I mean, on the one hand, they have nicer toothbrushes than me, and I feel a way about that. But on the other, like, you know, basic human dignity, mattresses that aren't a mysterious shade of invisible.
Have a mattress.
Yeah, he's just sleeping on the floor. Maybe make him out of something besides fucking concrete. I don't know. I hate concrete. I'm not saying, like, you gotta make it a utopia in here, but, like, some color would be nice. Some color. You know?
This guy gets a shelf. What the fuck?
Yeah, well. Good behavior gets you
He's like,
a place to put all the things you don't own. Reminder of what's on the outside if you keep being nice. I don't know. Also, what's the point of this? What is the point of this besides just freezing everyone in here? You'll never be comfortable. It is always elements temperature. Fuck you. Seems a little archaic. Seems a little inhumane. Personal opinion. Alright, let's go to A block. We're running out of prison. Where'd you go? Oh. I have good eyes. Did I shut this? I don't remember shutting that. What's this? Forbidden. Sick Jan, don't have to claim a home office if it means we'll both go to thing. Or the penance you take in the penitentiary. Yeah. I just don't think it does any good for anybody. I'm singing Sick Jan by Chris Fleming. Oh! 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 The other cell block is promising. Temperature dipped. I hope she didn't die. Almost be impressive. But we are probably pretty fucking crazy at this point. Seems promising, but also like a great way to die. Don't know where you're meant to hide in the prison. Are you still alive?
Yeah, I'm just exploring.
I'm not. Bye. It's in A. It's in cell block A.
I let go of the button before I was done. I'm hunting for cursed objects.
I hate the prison. Ghost hunt. Sarah dies. They braved it alone. It went really well for me. All right, we have no evidence. Let's see if Liz even decides to come into the building or if we're just bailing. Oh, yeah, she's in. All right.
I found A block.
Yeah. Have fun finding my corpse.
For a second there, I thought I saw Sarah there. Dick. These computers are fucked up. Oh, I forgot we were even looking for the fucking fuse box. Okay. Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, break line, Lizzie. Holy shit, she actually got away. There's a door there, apparently. Oh, shit. We're just like, nah. Nah. Prison very hard with a small party. Prison very hard in general. One of the bigger maps. Could be a lot bigger. Could be the sanitarium.
Oh no! Oh no! Ah, okay. Okay. Well. Oh my god. The only evidence I have is that my friend is fucking dead. And that took quite a while. You know what? Here's the thing. I got away from that ghost pretty fast. I'm gonna call it a Deogen. I'm hitting the button, because this is way too much for me.
I don't know if it's... I don't even know if I'm right. I don't think it was... Maybe. I mean, she did get away from it. I'm gonna take the same guess. Maroi.
Oh, it wasn't a Diagen, okay.
It was a Maroi. I got $16.
I get $30.
How long was that? That was only
That's a
13.
while.
That was only 13 minutes. It just felt like for. So here's the deal. I went into Block A, and I tried to tell you Block A was like, oh yeah, it's just cold in here. I went up the stairs and immediately died. Lights started blinking. I was like, oh shit, dead. Like, okay, god damn it. Ghost misidentified.
I made it in there, and then I immediately started hunting me, and I was like, oh, shit!
Yeah, you did outrun it. I was amazed. Okay, so what? Let me look at
I was
Maroi.
surprised with myself.
Let me look at Maroi here. The weaker their victims, the stronger it becomes. That makes no sense. I have no idea how it was in Maroi. We were both 0. It should have been able to go fast as fuck. Okay. I'm going to go to the bathroom again because I downed an entire large drink from McDonald's, and I have issues. The issue is called I downed an entire large drink from McDonald's. I'm going to run a 1-minute ad and be right back.
Is that my Eli song? We just don't know. Why are you so stinky, Poppy? Trying to answer this question. That is, what song do you most associate with your character? And the thing is I'm drawing a complete blank on every song that I've ever associated with Eli. Hold up.
What are we holding up for? I'm here. What happened?
I might have found my Eli song.
Your Eli song. I hope it's not Sick Jan.
It's not.
Okay. Liz. As the sole survivor of the last run, you get to pick the new rule upgrade. So what's harder? I know they're all such fun choices, right? Well, maybe that's why you're able to outrun it. You had high player speed. That might make sense.
And the ghost is at 75% speed, so that probably tracks.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and give the ghost the rest of their speed back.
Okay. The ghost is now at 100%, and that killed your husband. Hey, good news. That finally breaks us over 1x rewards. We are now at 1.07, slightly higher than beginner. Now, since you are the employee with seniority, you also get to pick the map that we go to today. Do you like the lore I'm building? We got a cannon, babies!
I'm gonna do Nell's Nell Diner.
Nell's Diner in a thunderstorm. With a clog. What a fun game of Clue. How's my money looking real quick? Pretty bad. Okay. Did I?
Upgrades last time we played, so my money's pretty bad too.
I'm at 1,000. Did you see they're doing a Phasmo board game? Now I
How's
still
that not just Clue?
I don't know. I really do think if you want to do a Phasmo game, you should just do a tabletop RPG. We should make a Phasmo tabletop. What do you think? Ghost hunting tabletop game? I think someone's doing one, but they're taking forever about it. Make one of those
We
like
can do it better and faster.
make one of those like one sheet fucking.
I'll quit my day job. It'll be great.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're right. You need a plan B. Forgot. That shit is so ass. What's going on with this? Oh, that's fair. All right, what do we got? Escape.
I was so mad last week I started planning a fucking Harvest Moon like.
You know, if you want to start learning
I don't have any of
Godot.
the skills to do that.
Well, listen. I actually know of a course. I believe it is Zenva. I don't know how much it is. It's probably shit unless you actually like pay for their thing or catch it in one of the Humble Bundle things, which they have a lot. I'll keep an eye out for it if you really want. Building a farming sim in Godot. Now, mind you, it would be bare bones as hell.
Easy.
Huh? What?
I feel like it'd be pretty easy.
It's not too bad. The hardest part is making your mechanics intertwine, and something none of these fucking courses cover. Learning the JSON shit or whatever for your save data. You know, so your game can save. That was a whole project for Slime Force that is presently out of date. Okay, yes, it's a thunderstorm, but is my friend still here? I'm experiencing depression. It might not show up until the timer starts. I don't think the timer... Whatever. Alright. Step 1. Let's go check our friendly where the fuse box likes to hide.
I don't have my flashlight on. No wonder I can't see.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that I have learned most of Nell's Diner. Like, I actually like Nell's Diner quite a bit in terms of layout and shit. Now, is the noise by the windows when it's raining new? Or if I just...
It's new, but it is annoying.
Well, I mean, the whole point is it makes it harder to hear.
Yeah.
How's our old friend doing today? Oh, yep, doing great. Nice to see you, Friggy. Oh, yep, Liz touched it. There, oh, well, no, okay. Donut!
Functional fridge.
That's one thing I don't like about this map. It makes me want donuts, Liz.
You know what's gonna make me a horrible commenter on Steam is when they fix that freezer door?
What?
I would be so mad about them fixing that freezer door.
Oh, yeah, no. Fuck that. Broken forever.
Fuck them.
It's a... no.
Bone!
What's up over here?
On the bone.
Oh, I found a big old summoning circle, so the men's room is hell.
There's
So,
a bone in the women's room, so...
well,
that tracks.
listen, we're in the middle of nowhere, and country girls make do... Oh,
I
hello.
got breathed on. Oh, fuck.
I got its photo.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
I can see it from over here with no punishment. It is about 10 degrees in this hallway. I think it just turned the power off. Oh, no. Yeah, it's in here. I'm pretty sure. Oh, wait. No. Yeah. Yeah, it's in the hallway. It lives here.
Yeah, that tracks.
Sick jam, sick jam. I like how every time I get a song stuck in my head, it ends up becoming a new thing that Limited has to learn, and you're like, oh shit. All that effort to not be tracked online, but boy, I'm making that Poor boy, chronically online in musical taste. I think I've seen the real video. I mostly saw the live performance. Because he's done it on stage. Oh, let's grab both of these because I'm a bitch. Sick Jane, you don't have to claim a home office. Well, I don't get to claim one. It's our living room. I think that's a bullshit tax rule, by the way. Like, come on. You only get to claim a home office if you're bougie enough to own a room just for your office. I'm like, okay. I got that on camera, whatever it was. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I turned on the jukebox and none of you can stop me. That's twinsy behavior. Do something, demon. It's very active when we're in there.
Did you turn on the jukebox?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I turned on the jukebox so we could have vibes. The ghost has not done anything unless we're near it. Responds to everyone. That'd do it. Hey, boo, 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 that fucking do it, doofoo. I don't know what Jarrah wood is. I'm assuming that's Australian wood. I don't know what chest of draws is either. Responds to everyone. Bye. Ah. Hi. I survived a hunt.
Oh! I was just asking if you died.
That shit was fast. Like, I heard that just bump, 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 like, the whole time. I'm gonna go take some sanity meds now. It's aggressive.
Probably a good idea.
Whatever this thing, it's aggressive. Do we have any actual evidence yet? Good grief. I'm almost inclined to just preemptively say demon. That's on my short list. I haven't seen EMF 5.
Yeah.
See a lot of 1-2s, and it makes you wonder if it's twins. Because it hunted, and then immediately there was an event happening in that room, which does seem twinny. But the twins have more range, so I'm like, there's new ones I don't really know. We need something to pop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our cameras... Is our camera fucked? No, it's just the monitor looks weird. Alright, I see no ghost doors. I think we can say that. You know what I mean?
Seems reasonable.
we have anything in there like writing or anything like that?
I don't see any writing.
Okay, I'm gonna go in now. It's more likely to do shit if we're both in there, so feel free to be truck bitch for a second, I guess. Oh, okay. See. We have no lights here. What? Is it safe? Are you nearby? Where are you? Do you want to talk? I'm so confused right now. In the kitchen, I'm stupid. I need help moving shit. I think it's the movement path it went on. It's like 2 degrees. Huh? It's like 2 degrees in here.
Just moved, or
I think I might have just been wrong.
could be, could be.
It'd be the first time. don't like this ghost, Liz.
I don't like it very much either.
Oh, fuck, it's red light. Rare bingo. Fuck me. So I can't say it's anything for sure. It's just dangerous. There's ghost
Oh, I see
orbs.
ghost orbs now.
And object thrown. And ghost orbs. And object thrown. And ghost orbs. And object thrown. I can't stop it. Object thrown. Hey, did you know some objects got thrown? Jesus Christmas.
Okay, let's see. Criminy.
I think it likes throwing objects. Okay, we got ghost
I
orbs.
think it likes to throw shit.
Oh my gosh.
We got orbs.
That tells us jack shit, but it's something. Is Poltergeist on the table? Because this thing's fucking going. No, it's not actually. And Demon is off if there's ghost orbs, so it's not my first bet. Ooh, Revenant maybe? I mean, it is a pitch. They would be calming down by now. I took the last sanity med, by the way, because I'm doing so good.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I'm gonna grab this, and I'm gonna grab that just for my own sake. Fuck this shit. Hiding in bathroom stalls, pooping my pants. Like that, asshole.
You can feel free to turn off the motion sensor.
There's a motion sensor? Oh shit. Don't go crazy on your random calls, because I am, in fact, not up to speed on that bingo right now. Okay. Shit. I set up some treats. Any luck? Got fire, I got book.
Got like a brief flash of something that I wanted, and then it was gone immediately.
Oh, it's probably object thrown again then.
It might have been.
Also just did some sort of event in there because it's very active. Oh, okay. We got the shadow on film. Well, it was intense while it's chasing someone. Boy, you fucking got it. I have like no sounds, shockingly. Not blowing out our candles, so clearly I need to, Oh. Yeah, I'm
Just
full.
did it.
And you got it? Cool,
That's all
video's
we got.
done.
That's all we need for video.
We need photo, we need sound. It responds to everyone if you're feeling ballsy. I do have an incense on me, and you're welcome to join me in the Happy Happy Incense Club. It's a great club. It definitely never entails hiding with a candlestick in a fucking bathroom stall. That would be weird. Ah ha ha. What do I have for sound? A hunting ghost. That's a hell of a sound. It's our last photo, right? Is it safe? Are you nearby?
Are you friendly? You want to hurt us?
Are you stinky Frenchman? Oh, this is where the fingerprints thing is going to bite us in the ass because there's so much space in here of shit it could touch. Alright, I'm not thinking spirit box at this point. Oh, grab the other dots projector real quick, I guess.
What was that picture you just took?
I took EMF.
We already had EMF.
Well... No, we did. Oh. Yeah, we did. Whoopsie-doo.
Oh.
What?
We've got ghost riding.
I almost got it written down on the... Oh, nice.
Oh, fuck.
What?
We set off my incense. Oops.
What?
I'm gonna go out to the car.
Thank you for writing in my book, you little psychopath. Dots! Dots. Give me some sounds, homie. Talk to me. Do something. You should check the dining room for cursed objects.
What?
Oh. Oh! I got that. I didn't get whatever that was. Doing something. Here we go. Dude! Stop negating! Let me hear you! I keep getting so close. Alright, we got dots and ghost orbs.
And we have ghost writing.
And ghost writing. That is a thay. That checks out. Says getting harder as we go. As it gets less active as it ages. Come on, honey, just talk to me. Tell me your secrets. How did you die? Give me a sign. Sing me a song.
You want to hurt us?
You got a sound recorder on you?
Give me a sign. No.
Here, take the sound recorder. I'm going to check for the thing. Give me that. Did you know they get slower as they age?
All that, and I didn't get a single fucking sound.
Oh, that's fine. I got Hunting Ghost already. We need it to do anything else. I got the fire extinguish and
I didn't even light my fucking incense. Damn it!
I did. We got that done. We get one more sound, we've won. We literally just need one more fucking sound. And it's slow as shit right now. That's helping. I was gonna look for the cursed object. Okay. Doggy tax assessor. Assessing taxes for doggies. Doggy tax assessor. Am I doing this right? Are you happy? Doggy tax assessor. It's a thing, apparently. Oh, you meant dodgy, didn't you? That just registered. Oh, you even wrote dodgy. Right, I didn't see the voodoo doll or whatever the other one is. Are you trying to get ghostwriting on audio? That would work. That would work. That's
what I was thinking.
You're smart. You're smart. That's all I have to say. You're smart. Go ahead and pop this and
I'm
pop.
writing my book.
Your sound recording. Well, do you get the burn crucifix? That works. Bye.
Yeah.
We're done. We did it. Nice. 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 I believe that's everything then.
Looks like it.
They, dots, orbs, writing, right?
Yep, that's what I got.
All right, let's call it. Assaults you. Aha, you've been assaulted.
You flashed.
Shit, hell yeah.
Welcome back. There's some jobs ready for you.
Hell yeah.
Oh, it was summoning circle, duh. Found that real early.
Oh, right. Shit. I remember that now.
How's it feel to survive a hunt, actually? I'm now joining my bingo. There has been no comment in a hot second. I have 4 messages. I don't know who from. Delcatty. Okay. So, I don't have a bingo. How's everyone else doing?
I also don't have a bingo.
Okay. I got time for one more if we stick to, like, Tanglewood. Is that acceptable? It's about her bedtime, so
Works for me.
I gotta at least not be screaming at ghosts. However, we have to change. Each of us get to pick one rule and we each have to agree on 2. Because we had a perfect game and we both lived, right? So,
Correct.
change the name of this from Custom Normal Light. Stream Party. Does that show up on your end? Does that show up as a difficulty? Does it say difficulty Stream Party?
Still says custom right now.
Boo. Okay. Okay. Let me see. We can go down to 100% player speed. Move normal.
Yeah.
All right. We can let the ghost move more. It doesn't change room. This is its ability to roam around and do events outside of its space.
I'd be down with that.
Right. Makes it less predictable, like if you're starting a hunt on purpose, where it's going to be. Does that not make it? Wow. Okay. Our rewards are being choked by something. Is it really setup time? Okay. I'm going to use mine to reduce our setup time to 3 minutes.
Sounds good.
Setup time is presently our main clamp on multiplier reward. That's fair. Anything over a 2x usually requires you to not have one. Alright, well, you get to pick one thing to make harder. I can't argue. Whatever you want.
Let's turn on kills, extend hunts.
Oh, you monster! Okay. Oh, that's not just an on-off. That is a amount of extension.
Duration? Oh.
Yeah.
Andy.
Yeah, for the record, we are being clamped at 1.6 until we reduce our setup time to at least 2 minutes. But
Rude.
we are up to 1.6. All right. Last thing before we start, should I call a random event?
Do it.
Calling a random event. Monkey's paw found. Hope that helps someone. Didn't do shit for me. Make sure to check your card before we start, Liz, because if you win, you get to pick another one. Oh, okay. Ready? Steady. Oh, you monster. Oh, no. All right, here we go. I'm going to turn down my volume real quick on my end, because otherwise it's going to be bugging the hell out of my wife. Hold on. Not hear you for shit right now.
There.
You could say anything about me, and only your stream will really know. Not enough money.
Movies.
This place's important object. Music box found. 1 minute ad break, no matter what. All right, what's that? I get one more. I gotta do
Oh,
one.
no.
Random. All right. My volume's back up. Hopefully I don't drive myself crazy. We've got 39 seconds before ad break ends. Oh, Delimited's going for it. Anyway, at least you get to pick one more rule because you won.
It's true.
So what are we fucking with now? You want to lower that prep time some more to make the money go up?
Yeah.
Oh, now we're up to 1.78 instead of 1.6. That actually made quite a difference.
Ooh.
It doesn't go up again until we hit 30. And there is no difference between 30 seconds and 0.
Well, that's at least something. 30 seconds of setup time.
Limited really wanted that second place real bad. Now, as a reminder, you can set rules for the round with points, too. If you really wanted to, Limited. But I think the time for that one has more or less passed. However, I am going to start another round real quick. Alright? Might as well go check my card before I do, see if I get anything. I am comically... Oh no, I do have a bingo. I have one bingo. I have 6 things left on my board that were not marked, and I thought I did not have a bingo. Okay. I was like, damn. Alright. I like having chaos. We're going to keep chaos. This is our last round for the night. There will be a blackout call at the very end, where everyone can get their points on a rapid fire. Here we go. Alright. What we got? Witness an event, capture a video, any EMF photo. Oh,
EMF
okay.
rating.
Land on our comfort map. Where we begin, it's where we end. We went on the prison, be nice to me. It went so well. It was a perfect prison run, and no one can say otherwise if we're talking about the ghost score. Locked. On.
Good news, I took a picture of the front door.
I couldn't quite hear that.
I took a picture of the front door. Very helpful.
I'm sure it was beautiful, Liz.
Of course it.
Just like you.
10-degree basement, but that doesn't mean much right now, and it is going up. Nine-degree hallway.
Got that taken care of?
9-degree hallway. Portrait on the... It's here. It's over here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I got an EMF reading over here.
Living room seems viable. Alright. It's already 5 degrees. Still in setup time, so that's... And we got breath in here, so...
No
Alright.
tarot cards yet.
I had that light on, so...
Peepaw.
Crack-a-thoom, baby. Crack-a-thoom. Grab this, let's grab that. Let's grab you. That, and there we go.
Mirror
What's
does
up?
not appear to be there.
You still looking for the object?
Yeah.
Check the kids' room. Not voodoo doll.
It wasn't the monkey paw.
Not monkey paw, not voodoo doll. I don't know where music box is on the new setup, to be fair. Like, that could be a lot of places.
I thought that was one I was looking for.
Got.
I see you.
I don't see you. Well, I do see you. No. Dots ghost, but not enough to actually record the damn thing. Twice! Piece of shit. That's okay, I have a solution to that. Crawler, by the way. Put anything sensor-wise near the ground. What's up, boy? Mwah. What's that, whore? Want to touch something?
Did you find the music box?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I literally just looked up where things are.
Here,
In case
EMF
you were
5.
wondering, the Ouija board spawns in the train room.
EMF 5. You have a sound recorder, now's a great time.
I don't.
Damn. We have EMF 5 and dots for sure. Give us a sign. Get a light switch. It's not. Right. I thought. Very active. Yeah. videos yet, huh? Come on, dude. I've been all over the house. I got something on video. It's not just you swinging a candlestick around like a crucifix, either. Take down that motion sensor, would you? The second I looked away, it did that. Got object thrown, though. Yo, it be yeeting? Yeeting a lot, damn.
Fire extinguisher, okay.
This thing just keeps chucking stuff around. Dots, EMF 5. Wraith again, huh? Well, there's an easy way to check that. Still got one on me? Still got... No, I'm full. Okay. We kept dots on video, that's a thing. That counts as a ghost video. Yo, the power of Christ, whatever, and all that. Yeah, sure, just roll that across the room, why not? We do not have fire extinguisher on video yet, just so you know. Salt is being placed. Consider this a wraith check. You have the sound recorder?
I do have the sound recorder yet.
It keeps popping EMF 5, and that's a sound. You don't think to ask. Wow, it is really popping EMF
Throw it on
5.
the ground right in front of this flashlight.
I got disturbed salt. So I need to do this. Footprint! We have UV. I did not manage to get a photo, but we have it.
I didn't make it back fast enough to get the...
Comforting. It's a Goryo. Means it's real happy about all that fire. How you doing? Did you get it that
Got the
time?
fire extinguisher that time.
Cool. If we just got dots ghost, we'd be golden. Or I could do something really stupid and dangerous.
Ew.
No ghost event yet. No photo of shit. I've seen dots multiple times. I just haven't managed to catch it on any media. I caught UV, but not in time to get the photo. Oh, where I left my camera? That's concerning.
My camera? I'm not using it.
Sure.
On the floor.
Yes, make me crawl on the ground. As I deserve. Hey, here's the game. Got the UV photo. Okay, I'm gonna update the bingo real quick. I would still love to get dots on any. Well, that's a book. And it loves.
Throwing objects.
It loves chucking shit. I put more UV. There it is. Shit, there it is. It didn't even show up as a thing to record. Motherfucker.
It did for the briefest second, but not long enough to actually catch a recording.
I hate this bitch. Okay. EMF 5. UV. Music box found. Ghost has blown out fire. Have braved it alone. Right. So I figure out what I want to do about this. Need a photo. I don't need this anymore, technically. What could help if I could get a handprint, but it's such a crawler. I'd have to touch a door. Maybe if I shut the doors? Response people who are alone. Let's
God
party.
Damn it, that was probably our chance.
Whatever. Come hang with me. Make it work. I'm getting notions. I got the shittier camera. Because our rewards are so high right now. Fuse box is off.
Wait a minute. That wasn't well that to be oriented. Oh,
Yo, it slammed that door in my face. Okay, good to know. how's it going? Any luck? I expanded her.
Briefly, no.
I have a different location idea. I might make a thing. Need help, baby? Okay. Alright, let's mind that for a second. I gotta help Katie.
Okay.
Oh, good news. We saw a ghost event. I think burning crucifix counts as a photo. I should have taken it. Damn it. Whatever. What's up, Beal's a bitch?
I got a video.
Good job. Just come turn off this light, whore. Give me a sign. I dare you. Turn on the TV. Turn off this lamp. Make the phone ring. No, you're short. That one might be more your speed. Come on, there's lots of cool shit you can touch. I just need one little fingerprint. And then we're doing the Hail Mary and you'll be left alone. For as long as you want. I promise. Alright, I'm open to ideas. Here's the thing. I know how to get one photo. Guaranteed. Right? Fucking damn it, of course now. Hurry. 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 Where even is the remote? Oh! Liz, I don't know where the remote is. It keeps touching it. I don't know where it is. Clearly the ghost knows where the fucking remote is. Can you touch something besides that? Turn on a light. Burn a crucifix. Please. I just want a fingerprint photo. Please. That's me saying please. 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 Yes, you like playing with the lights. Heard that. Where? No idea. I would kill a god for a fingerprint photo. How do I get a fingerprint photo? Why am I being denied? I'm over here by the PNG leaves. That or this crucifix burning are my only two ideas. Do something, you fucking whore! I'll kiss you. Kiss you on the mouth. Wanna walk through my dots? Take your picture. I'll touch myself to it later if you want. Burn crucifix counts. Activating plan, fuck it. Bullshit! Bullshit! Through the walls! I hope that photo count. It didn't even count!
Oh. Didn't live that long. Alright. And she didn't get the ghost. That ghost is mad. Alright, well, if I get a
So
photo.
pissed. I just needed the ghost photo. I really tried. Alright. Ghost hunts. Sarah dies. Happening a lot tonight. Sarah gets impatient. You bet your ass. Sarah flirts with the ghost. Absolutely. First object used. I did misplace a camera at some point. Man. Does she not know what the ghost is? What's she doing? What's she doing?
Okay.
Wait. Oh, fuck it!
We did it. We got an almost perfect game. Make sure I've got the right dude checked. Vector.
Fuck me.
It was ultraviolet? Yeah, alright. Alright.
That sucks. Oh. You know, Liz, I'm happy to help.
Jobs for you.
That does not count as perfect, apparently, because I died. Did you get perfect?
No.
Oh,
I mean, that tracks.
that does track.
Apparently, we also didn't get the bone evidence, even though I remember getting the
Oh, that might be why, actually. No bone means no perfect.
Yeah.
I don't remember getting the bone on this one, thinking about it. All right. Well, you lived and we identified it. So before we go, you get to pick the next. You get to pick a rule, and then we get to agree on one, and that'll be our promise for next time.
Okay. I think we should do. Does the grace period go from like 5 to 0 or like 5 to 3 or something?
I think it goes down a second at a time. I can look. Second at a time.
I want to lower that one for a second.
Oh, that's 10% of the thing. Okay. How do you feel about dropping that stinking prep time some more or something? I don't know what else we need to. Yeah, we're not clamped anywhere. Actually, we can change anything we want.
Yeah.
Less setup time doesn't do anything right now. More doors open raises our rewards. Reducing our hiding spaces is less than more doors open. Weirdly enough. Sandy Mar's not that much. No cursed possession turns it up to 2. Wow.
That's one less thing to look for.
True, but it's also one less thing to get a photo of and makes the bingo much less fun. We can make ourselves slower. Then setup
Could
time
do
starts to
that.
clamp it. You want to make us slower?
I
Tell
don't
you,
know if I want to make it slower is the thing.
huh? Oh, I really don't want to do that. If we're agreeing on one, I don't want to do that.
No. I don't want to do that.
We can lower our sanity pill restoration. Apparently, that's clamping us.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
When does it stop clamping us? At 10. Oh, hey, I got followed by Albert Sachs Jr. for Marble or something. I don't know. We'll see if that's a bot or not. Okay. So, we're up to 1.93 on my stream party custom thing. But that will be it for tonight. Which means, for the bingo's sake... What?
Did you click the little save button next to your name on your difficulty?
I did. And
Dang.
it just doesn't show for you.
Alright.
What about now? Nope. Weird. Also, I cannot seem to change
Yeah.
off of custom anymore.
Oh, fun.
Oh, stream party. There we go. Challenge mode, stream party. So it doesn't show up as stream party over here. No name sharing for people. Okay. For the sake of bingo. Are we all ready for me to start calling random shit for a minute?
Yeah.
Oh, ghost identified. We got that. All right. On the count of 3, I'm going to start hitting call random. 1, 2, 3. Eventually, someone will get one. Malka and Delimited and... Alright. There we go. And for anyone like me still waiting to see if they can get it, on the count of 3, I'll be hitting call all events. And remember, there is an amount of stream lag, so get that in mind. 1, 2, 3. What you giggling for over there, Lizzie?
I got a bingo.
That is a good reason to giggle. Congratulations, by the way, you're on the lead of the leaderboard by like 500.
Woohoo!
I'm second place, which doesn't feel rigged at all.
It's me, the leader.
Then Delimited in third. Don't want to make this really upsetting. I can reset this anytime. Also, we can filter it by the last 30 days, which makes me lower place, or last 7 days, which makes you third all of a sudden. So, shockingly, when you stream with me, you don't get as quick of a reaction. Who saw that coming?
Yeah, that tracks, I suppose.
All right, but that's all from me tonight. I'm being banished to the away
same
place. Thank you for playing with me. I am curious what people think of this silly format, especially you, since you're the one playing it with me. Where we just gradually make things
I think
work.
it's fun.
I would love to not die every other round. How's my money looking? Actually, it's gone up a little bit. That's genuinely surprising.
Nice.
I am surprised.
Mine's gone up a little bit too.
Cool.
Quite a lot.
Hey. It'll go up faster if we live and keep raising the thing. The challenge is set. How far can we go before we hate this game? And think Ghost Janitors is more fun for a while. Oof. I didn't mind Ghost Janitors, but it needs work. Alright. You'll have to can't order pizza anymore, Island. Exactly. Alright.
Or dealing with it.
Have a good evening, everybody. And I will see you all next time. It's back to the animation mines for me. Till I get that done. It's getting close. Good night.